Where Leslie and Gary stand after Bachelor in Paradise, August 6th, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News fans. Golden alums Leslie Fhima and Gary Livingston connected on Bachelor in Paradise. They got close during an adorable date where they both showed off their dance moves. But Gary and Leslie didn't do well in the challenge and landed in the bottom three. They were both sent home after Bailey Brown saved Faith Martin and Kim Buick from elimination instead of Gary and Leslie. Before his exit, Gary Livingston said that their relationship would move forward after the show. Are they still together now? Keep reading for the surprising update. Leslie Fhima, heartbroken over Bachelor in Paradise exit. Leslie Fhima knows about getting her heart broken on reality TV. She was the runner-up on Jerry Turner's season of The Golden Bachelor. She was convinced he was going to propose and was completely blindsided when he sent her home in favor of Teresa Nist. Leslie sparked dating rumors with Golden Bachelorette alum Jordan Heller, but she clarified that they were just friends. When Leslie Fhima joined season 10 of Bachelor in Paradise, she had high hopes of finding love on the beach. She found a connection with Gary Livingston, but is it love? The former professional ice skater shared an update during an appearance on the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast. Are Leslie and Gary still together? Where she stands with Gary Livingston now. Leslie Fhima and Gary Livingston have a lot in common, including their love of dancing. But is it enough to sustain a relationship? She revealed on the podcast that the two are still very close and talk all the time. We talk all the time. We were at the premiere together watching the show in LA. Gary is, I can honestly say right now, one of my best friends. I'll call him if I have a problem. He kind of talks me off the ledge a little bit, and we are always there for each other. We have each other's back. Not ruling out a relationship. It sounds like Leslie Fhima and Gary Livingston mean a lot to each other. Did she friend-zone him? Not exactly. I don't know, because we haven't spent time together and we live in two separate cities. I don't know what it could be, she said about the possibility of dating. If friendship does turn to romance, they already have a solid foundation. All I know is that for me, a big thing with any relationship, a romantic one for sure, is I want to be friends first, because I want to be with my best friend growing older, and so that is a huge thing for me, Leslie explained. The Bachelor in Paradise alum added, I don't know what it's going to be, but I know that we have special places in our hearts for each other, and that's all I can say right now. What do you think the future holds for Gary and after Bachelor in Paradise? A second chance or final goodbye? Paradise ends, reality begins. Leslie Fhima stood barefoot on the edge of the water, the waves of Sayulita softly crashing around her ankles. The rose ceremony was over, the lights had dimmed, the cameras had stopped rolling, but her thoughts still spun like the wind that rustled the palm trees behind her. Gary Turner, the Golden Bachelor, who had captured the hearts of millions, had also captured hers, once. But that was weeks ago, maybe months. Time on reality TV was an illusion. In Paradise, it passed in firelight and champagne. In the real world, it was colder, more uncertain. Leslie had come to Bachelor in Paradise with no expectations. After all, she had been left heartbroken on the Golden Bachelor, where Gary chose Teresa over her. The final rejection had stung, and her tearful confession that she had planned a life with Gary had gone viral. But time passed. Healing happened, or so she thought. When the producers called and offered her a spot on Paradise, she said yes, not because she needed love, but because she needed closure. But what she didn't expect was that Gary would be there too. The surprise arrival. Leslie was mid-conversation with Michael Allio, the charming widower from Katie Thurston's season, when a familiar voice interrupted them. Hey everyone! It was Gary. He looked nervous, his hands fidgeting with the hem of his blue button-down shirt. The Paradise cast froze. Some jaws dropped, a few eyes narrowed. Leslie's heart dropped into her stomach. Can I steal Leslie for a minute? Michael glanced between them, nodded politely, and stepped aside. Leslie hesitated. Her mind screamed no, but her feet walked toward him. They found a quiet spot near the beach. I didn't know you'd be here, she said, not looking at him. I didn't either, at first, but I needed to talk to you, in person, away from everything. You had time to do that before, she snapped. I know. He sighed. There was regret in his eyes, the kind that made her chest tighten. "I made a mistake, Leslie." She raised an eyebrow. "I'm not saying this to rewrite what happened. I chose Teresa, and I thought I made the right choice. But things didn't go the way I imagined." Leslie's lips tightened. She had heard the rumors. Gary and Teresa were having problems. Some claimed the wedding was rushed. Others said Gary wasn't as committed as he had portrayed. But she didn't care. Not anymore. She had closed that chapter. Or so she believed. The Paradise Games begin. Despite the initial awkwardness, Leslie and Gary both stayed on the beach. The producers, delighted by the unexpected reunion, gave them both ample screen time. Old flames, new sparks, and plenty of slow-motion close-ups. But it wasn't that simple. Leslie found herself connecting with Tyler Norris, a fan favorite from Rachel and Gabby's season. Tyler was funny, kind, and didn't carry the baggage that Gary did. He made her laugh, and after months of tears, that meant something. Gary, on the other hand, went on a date with Faith Martin, another alum from The Golden Bachelor. Their horseback riding date was sweet and nostalgic, but something was missing. "Do you think it's weird we're both back here?" Faith asked during their dinner. Gary smiled weakly. "I think it's weird I'm not sitting across from Leslie." Faith laughed awkwardly. "Wow, okay, honest answer." Gary shrugged. "I'm tired of pretending." That night, he found Leslie sitting alone by the bonfire. He offered her a marshmallow on a stick. "You're doing that thing again," she said. "What thing?" "Trying to be sweet when you're avoiding real conversations." He chuckled. "You always did see through me." They sat in silence for a while before Leslie asked the question that had been on her mind since he arrived. "Why did you come here, Gary?" He looked at her, eyes soft but sincere. "Because I realized I never gave us a fair shot. I chose what I thought was easy, but easy doesn't always mean right." Torn between two roses. Tyler was all in. He made his intentions clear to Leslie early on, and she appreciated it. He wasn't just a good guy, he was good for her. But the pull toward Gary was undeniable. "I know what he did hurt you," Tyler said one night when they were alone in the hammock. "But don't let the past keep you from what could be a better future with me." Leslie didn't respond immediately. Her silence said enough. Later that night, Gary pulled her aside again. "I don't want to interfere," he said, "but I need to be honest. I still love you." Leslie felt the earth tilt beneath her. "Don't say that if you don't mean it." "I've never meant anything more." That week's rose ceremony was the most dramatic yet. Tyler stood with confidence, waiting for Leslie. Gary stood beside him, arms stiff, face unreadable. Leslie walked up. She held the rose, and, after a long pause, she gave it to Tyler. Regrets and realizations. Gary didn't cry. He didn't storm off. He smiled and nodded, ever the gentleman, and whispered, "I understand." But later, in a confessional, he broke down. "I let her go once," he said, voice cracking, "and now I've done it again. Only this time, I deserved it." Back at the beach, Leslie avoided him. Tyler was attentive, but her mood shifted. She was distracted, distant. "Are you sure you're over him?" Tyler asked one morning. "I don't know," she admitted. "I thought I was." She didn't sleep that night, and neither did Gary. By sunrise, he was packing his bags. The goodbye that meant more. Gary found Leslie near the water, the same spot they'd spoken that first night. She looked surprised to see him with his bag slung over his shoulder. "You're leaving?" "I need to," he said. "I didn't come here to compete. I came to speak my truth, and I did." Leslie looked down, her voice barely audible. "So that's it?" He smiled. "Unless you want to stop me." She didn't reply. He turned to walk away. Every step felt like a goodbye to a life he could have had. Until he heard her voice. "Wait." He stopped. She walked toward him, eyes glistening. "I'm scared," she said. "You broke me once." "I know, and I've spent every day since regretting it." They stood close, the morning sun casting a golden glow around them. "I don't know if I can forgive you," she whispered. "But can we try?" She didn't speak. Instead, she reached out and took his hand. After Paradise. 2 months after Bachelor in Paradise wrapped, the reunion episode aired. The host turned to Leslie and Gary. "You two left the beach together?" Leslie smiled. "Kind of." Gary laughed. "I left alone, but she followed me a week later." The audience erupted in applause. "We're not rushing anything," Leslie added. "We've been through too much. But we're in a dead place. Do you trust him again? The host asked. Leslie paused. I trust that he's learned. Gary took her hand. And I trust that this time I won't let her go. 1 year later. Leslie and Gary didn't post on Instagram every day. They didn't sign on for every press opportunity. But behind the scenes, they were building something stronger, real. They split their time between Minnesota and Indiana, slowly blending families, learning each other's quirks again. Therapy, long walks, no cameras. And on a quiet winter evening, while decorating the tree, Gary pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. Leslie froze. You don't have to say yes, he whispered. I just needed you to know I never stopped dreaming about a life with you. Tears welled in her eyes. She didn't say yes. She kissed him instead. That was enough. For now. Where Leslie and Gary stand now. Leslie and Gary's love story wasn't perfect. It wasn't clean. It didn't follow a script. But it was real. From heartbreak to healing, from paradise to possibility, they found each other again. Not because they had to, but because they chose to. And in the unpredictable world of Bachelor Nation, that's as close to a fairy tale as it gets.